Britain's former Prince Andrew has been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Now known as Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, he was taken into custody in Norfolk just a short while ago. He is accused of allegedly sharing confidential information with the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein.
Former British ambassador to the U.S. Peter Mandelson was taken into custody late this Monday. Police say his arrest is related to misconduct probe over his ties with Jeffrey Epstein. In late 2024, this follows last week's arrest of former Prince Andrew in connection with his ties to the late sex offender.
And if you think you've heard everything about the Epstein scandal, buckle up, because what's happening right now changes absolutely everything. After years of nothing, after years of redacted documents and sealed files and powerful people walking free, arrests are finally happening, like actual arrests.
I want to start by asking maybe questions of what we don't know and what we do know so far. So we do know that he's been arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office, but there's a lot of details that are still missing here, of course, Rahel. We don't know the specifics of the allegations of this investigation by the police. We're talking about a period of time between 2001 to 2011 when he was representing the UK as a trade envoy. But what are the specific allegations, the specific accusations of misconduct? We don't yet know that.
So what was the trigger? Prince Andrew, a literal member of the British royal family, just got taken into custody in the UK. Congress just dropped subpoenas on Epstein's inner circle, the billionaires and lawyers who ran his operation and covered for him. And Trump's Justice Department, they're getting absolutely eviscerated in court and in Congress.
And thank you very much indeed also for that very typical 11th hour intervention by you with your phone call to the President, demanding even more out of this deal than any of us expected. So thank you for that.
In June 2009, did you stay at the apartment in Manhattan of Jeffrey Epstein?
I'm not answering any questions about him.
He was in jail at the time for soliciting prostitution from a minor.
And my knowledge of him is something that I regret. I wish I'd never met him in the first place.
A federal judge just exposed Trump's so-called transparency push as complete garbage, called it a smoke okay screen, said it was pure PR with no substance, and now lawmakers are going after Pam Bondi, accusing the Trump administration of hiding names and blocking investigations for months. This is the Epstein story finally breaking open, and Trump is caught right in the middle of it.
That's why I find it absolutely despicable that you sought to protect Epstein's clients, like former Prince Andrew. Last July, you closed the case on Epstein's abusers. The July 2025 memo from your Department of Justice stated, quote, "We did not uncover evidence that could predicate an investigation against uncharged third parties. These two photos staring you in the face are evidence of a crime and more than enough evidence to predicate an investigation against former Prince Andrew." So I ask you, Attorney General Pam Bondi, why did you shut down this investigation last July, and why have you not prosecuted former Prince Andrew?
Let's start with what just went down on February 18th, 2026. Prince Andrew, the guy who was literally royalty until he got stripped of everything, gets arrested in the UK. The charge is misconduct in public office. Specifically, they're saying he shared confidential official documents with Jeffrey Epstein. Think about how massive this is. This isn't about some vague association or social connection. This is a senior member of the royal family, someone with access to classified information, state secrets, being accused of handing that over to a convicted sex trafficker. This is the kind of thing people said would never happen. The kind of thing conspiracy theorists talked about for years, and now it's real, it's actually happening. A prince is in custody, but that's just the beginning. Over in the United States, the House Oversight Committee isn't playing games anymore.
But you were staying at the house of a convicted sex offender.
It was a convenient place to stay.
Andrew has consistently denied any wrongdoing in his association with Epstein. He denied having ever met Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who said she was forced to have sex with Andrew when she was 17. She died by suicide last year. Today, her family calling the arrest a vindication.
It's a very proud moment for us.
Andrew was stripped of his royal titles last year as Giuffre's posthumous memoir was published.
January 22nd, they issued subpoenas to Epstein's inner circle. Les Wexner, the billionaire who owned Victoria's Secret and funded Epstein's entire lifestyle for decades. Darren Indyk and Richard Kahn, Epstein's lawyers who controlled his estate and knew every detail of his operations. All three of them are now legally required to testify in February and March, and Democrats on the committee are making it crystal clear we're not stopping until we get answers. This isn't a fishing expedition. This is Congress going after the people who actually know what happened. Now, here's where it gets wild. While all this accountability is finally happening, while arrests are happening and subpoenas are flying, Trump's Justice Department is getting exposed for trying to block the whole thing. Because remember, when Trump started his second term, he made a huge deal about Epstein transparency. He said he was going to release the files. He said the American people deserve to know the truth. He positioned himself as the only one brave enough to take on the elites and expose the whole operation. But what actually happened? February 11th, Pam Bondi gets dragged in front of Congress, and lawmakers are furious. They're accusing her of hiding names of Epstein associates. They're saying the files Trump released were so heavily redacted, they're completely useless. They're pointing out there's an actual federal law requiring broad disclosure of Epstein-related documents, and Bondi's Justice Department isn't following it. And here's the part that destroys their credibility. Under oath, Bondi admits there are pending investigations. Wait, what? For months, Trump's team has been saying there's not enough evidence for more investigations. They've been saying everyone who should be prosecuted already was. They've been downplaying the whole thing, trying to make it seem like the Epstein case is closed. And now Bondi is admitting, yeah, actually, we're still looking into stuff. So either they were lying before or they're lying now. Either way, they're not being straight with the American people. Then comes the court smackdown that exposes the whole game. Trump's administration filed a motion to unseal certain grand jury documents, and they framed it as transparency. Look, they said, we're releasing more information. We're being open. But a federal judge saw right through it. The judge rejected the motion and called it exactly what it was. A distraction, a smoke okay screen. Because the documents Trump wanted to release, they didn't contain any meaningful new information. Everything in them was already public. So Trump wasn't actually adding transparency. He was creating the appearance of transparency while keeping the real secrets buried. The judge literally said this was a PR move with no substance. That's on the record. Now, a federal judge looking at Trump's so-called transparency effort and saying this is garbage. And that right there is the story. Trump talks a big game about exposing Epstein. But when you actually look at what his administration is doing, they're blocking investigations. They're redacting names that should be public. They're trying to control the narrative. And now, as arrests start happening, as Congress starts pulling people in, as judges start calling out the BS, it's becoming obvious that Trump wasn't leading on Epstein accountability. He was being dragged into it, and he's been fighting it the whole way. Let's dig deeper into why this moment is so massive. To really understand what's happening, you have to look at three things. First, who's getting arrested and subpoenaed and why that matters. Second, what Trump's Justice Department has actually been doing versus what they claim. And third, why judges in Congress are finally pushing back after years of nothing. Start with the arrests. Prince Andrew's situation is huge because for years, everyone knew he was involved. He gave that disastrous BBC interview where he claimed he couldn't sweat and was at Pizza Express. He settled a civil lawsuit with Virginia Jew, who accused him of sexually assaulting her when she was 17. But he never faced criminal charges. He just retreated, got stripped of his titles, and everyone assumed that was the end of it. But now he's under arrest on charges of sharing confidential documents with Epstein. This isn't just about personal behavior anymore. This is about potentially compromising national security to help a convicted sex offender. That's the kind of charge that actually sticks, and it sends a message that if a prince can get arrested, if someone that powerful can face consequences, then nobody in Epstein's orbit is safe. Then you've got Les Wexner being subpoenaed. This is the billionaire who funded Epstein's entire operation. He gave Epstein power of attorney over his finances. He let Epstein live in his properties. And for years, Wexner has claimed he didn't know, that he was manipulated, that he cut ties as soon as he found out. But victims and investigators have always said there's no way. You don't give someone control over hundreds of millions of dollars without knowing exactly who they are. Now, Wexner has to testify under oath in front of Congress, and he's not alone. Epstein's lawyers, the guys who managed his estate and knew everything about his connections, they're being subpoenaed, too. These are the people who can name names. They know who was involved, who visited, who benefited, and they're about to be under oath. Now, here's where Trump's DOJ becomes the story, because while all this accountability is finally happening, Trump's team has been actively trying to block it. When they released those heavily redacted files, victims' advocates said it was useless. Journalists said it added nothing new, and lawmakers started asking, "What are you hiding?" Bondi's testimony exposed the contradiction. She claimed there wasn't enough evidence for more investigations while simultaneously admitting investigations are pending. That's not just inconsistent. That's a lie exposed under oath and the court ruling. That's the knockout punch. Trump tried to play games with grand jury documents, hoping to generate headlines about transparency while actually releasing nothing of value. The judge saw through it immediately, called it a distraction, shut it down. Think about how devastating that is. A federal judge essentially saying Trump's transparency push was fake. It was theater designed to make him look good while protecting the powerful people whose names are still redacted. And here's why that matters for Trump personally. Trump was connected to Epstein. They were friends in the 90s and 2000s. There are photos of them together. There are quotes of Trump praising Epstein. Trump even joked in a 2002 interview that Epstein likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. Trump knew what Epstein was about. So when his Justice Department blocks investigations and redacts names, you have to ask, what are they protecting? Who are they protecting? Is it Trump's own reputation? Is it his billionaire friends? Is it powerful people who might have dirt on him? Because if Trump really wanted transparency, he'd just release everything. No redactions, no games, no PR stunts. Just here are the files. Let the chips fall. But he's not doing that. He's doing the opposite. And now, as actual accountability starts happening, as arrests and subpoenas pile up, it's becoming obvious that Trump wasn't leading this effort. He was obstructing it. The only reason things are moving forward now is because Congress and the courts are forcing his hand. Victims groups are noticing. They're saying the Trump administration has been dragged into action, not leading it. They're saying, we've been fighting for this for years, and Trump's DOJ has been one of the biggest obstacles. They're saying, don't let Trump take credit for something he actively tried to stop. So when you see headlines about Epstein arrests starting, when you see Prince Andrew in custody and Epstein's inner circle getting subpoenaed, don't think, oh, Trump's finally delivering. Think, despite Trump's attempts to block this, accountability is starting to happen anyway, because that's the real story. Let's break down why this matters politically. First, the Epstein scandal just became real in a way it never has before. For years, it's been documents and speculation and conspiracy theories, but now we have actual arrests, actual subpoenas, actual legal consequences. You can't dismiss this as partisan attacks anymore. People are going to jail. People are testifying under oath. The truth is coming out whether powerful people like it or not. Second, Trump's so-called transparency was always a lie, and now we have proof. A federal judge called his effort a smoke OKC screen. His own attorney general admitted under oath that investigations are ongoing after months of claiming there was nothing to investigate. Victims groups say he obstructed, not helped. The evidence is overwhelming. Trump didn't want Epstein accountability. He wanted to look like he wanted it while protecting the powerful. Third, this exposes the double standard that makes voters furious. Billionaires and princes get protected while regular people get thrown in jail for minor offenses. Trump ran on draining the swamp, on taking on the elites. But when he had the chance, he protected them. He covered for them. and voters are watching. They see Prince Andrew getting arrested and they ask, why did it take this long? Why did Congress have to force the issue? Why didn't Trump's DOJ do this on their own? The answer is becoming impossible to ignore. Trump never wanted real accountability. He wanted the appearance of it. And fourth, this becomes a massive issue for 2026. Democrats are going to hammer this relentlessly. They're going to say Trump promised transparency but delivered a smokescreen. He promised accountability but blocked investigations. He promised to drain the swamp but protected the swamp creatures. And every Republican candidate is going to have to answer for it, defend Trump, and you look like you're defending Epstein's associates. Distance yourself, and you lose his base. There's no good answer. The timing is perfect for Democrats because this story has legs. Prince Andrew's case will play out for months. Wexner and Epstein's lawyers will testify in Congress. More revelations will come. More names will surface. And every time something new drops, it reminds voters that Trump had the power to expose all of this and chose not to. So here's where we stand. The Epstein scandal is back. Arrests are finally starting. Subpoenas are flying, and Trump's Justice Department is being exposed for blocking accountability instead of pursuing it. A federal judge shut down his fake transparency effort and called it a smoke-okay screen. Pam Bondi admitted under oath that investigations are ongoing after months of the administration claiming there was nothing to investigate. Victims groups say Trump was dragged into this. He didn't lead it. And what does that tell you? It tells you that Trump's whole anti-establishment brand is fake. He talks about taking on the elites, but when he has the chance, he protects them. He talks about exposing corruption, but when documents are in his control, he redacts them. He talks about draining the swamp, but when his Justice Department could prosecute powerful criminals, they cover for them instead. Voters are watching. They see Prince Andrew getting arrested. They see Epstein's inner circle getting subpoenaed, and they're asking, why did it take this long? Why didn't Trump's DOJ do this on their own? The answer is that Trump never wanted real Epstein accountability. He wanted the appearance of it. He wanted to look tough. But when it came time to actually do something, he protected the powerful instead of prosecuting them. And that's the story. That's what matters. Trump got shut down in court. His transparency effort was exposed as a smoke-okay screen. And while his administration tried to cover things up, arrests are finally starting anyway. Not because of Trump, despite him. If you made it this far, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because this story is just getting started. More arrests are coming. More documents are dropping. More powerful people are about to face consequences. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss what happens.